Two eggs look identical in the store, but one tells a story of sunlight and pasture, the other of darkness and confinement. The truth inside your carton is a secret most brands pray you never discover. You crack an egg into the pan, and the yolk immediately breaks. It's thin, pale, and watery, a sight you've probably seen before. You might have blamed the grocery store, the summer heat, or just bad luck. But there's a story here that no one tells you. That egg could have come from a hen that never saw sunlight, never scratched in the dirt, and lived her entire life in a space smaller than a standard sheet of paper. She was likely crammed in rows with thousands of other hens, fed the cheapest possible grain mix designed for one purpose, to keep her alive just long enough to lay eggs. Meanwhile, in the carton right next to it, there's another egg. This one might have come from a hen with access to an outdoor pasture, adequate space, and a carefully managed diet. Both eggs are perfectly legal, both passed inspection, and both feature the same catchy, natural-sounding marketing slogans on their packaging. But they are not the same eggs. Before we mention any specific brands, let's make one thing crystal clear. The quality of eggs in the United States isn't determined by the shell color, the size, or even freshness alone. It's really decided by three main factors: the production system, the level of transparency from the company, and how the product is positioned in the market. In many parts of the world, eggs are stamped with a production code directly on the shell, but the US system relies on carton labels. You'll see terms like cage-free, free-range, and pasture-raised, which correspond to different living conditions. Cage-free means the hens are not in cages but are typically confined indoors, while free-range hens have some access to the outdoors, and pasture-raised hens spend significant time roaming on pasture. The most basic and controversial system is the conventional cage system, where hens are confined to small battery cages. While caged eggs are slowly being phased out by retailers like Walmart and Kroger due to public pressure and corporate pledges, lower-tier and cage-free barn-raised eggs still dominate the shelves. Two eggs can be safe, fresh, and legal, yet belong to completely different tiers of quality. Today we're talking about the brands that consistently operate at the bottom of this hierarchy, not because they're unsafe or breaking the law, but because they prioritize price over quality, efficiency over animal welfare, and marketing over genuine transparency. Let's start with one of the most recognizable types of brands you'll see. Let's call them, quote, three. You see these brands everywhere. You find them at Walmart, you find them at Kroger, you see them in almost every major grocery chain across the United States, and that's no accident. Their business model is built on massive scale, high volume, wide distribution, and competitive pricing. These commodity egg producers offer several product lines, but their stronghold is the basic, low-cost segment. These are eggs engineered, first and foremost, to be affordable. The packaging is often minimalistic, and any claims about animal welfare are limited to what's legally required. Very little attention is given to how the hens actually live. This doesn't make their eggs dangerous. It makes them a commodity. Commodity eggs are produced to efficiently meet mass demand, not to maximize quality or nutritional value. When the primary goal is to keep prices down, producers are incentivized to cut costs wherever they possibly can, from feed quality to the living space provided for the animals. Typically, this means higher stocking densities, faster production cycles, and a lower investment per hen. The goal is to satisfy the market's demand for cheap eggs, but this inevitably places them in the lowest category of quality. Then you have a name that sounds comforting at first glance: Heartland Farms. The name itself suggests tradition, local family farms, and solid American values. And that's precisely why it works. Heartland Farms is actually a large-scale producer, and its line of standard eggs is positioned exactly where the name implies, as the standard. These eggs aren't organic, they aren't free-range, and they certainly aren't premium. They are designed to meet basic requirements on an industrial scale. The brand leans heavily on national identity, knowing that many consumers associate the word, quote, 4 or quote, 5 with quality and trust. But beyond that label, the product itself offers little differentiation. There are no strong declarations about animal welfare. There are no elevated feed standards. There's no transparency beyond what is legally required. These eggs are legal, uniform, and affordable, but they are not an aspirational product. They exist to meet demand, not to exceed expectations. And then there's a company like ProAgri Distributors. This is a name that rarely stands out to consumers, and that's by design. It operates quietly in the background of the egg supply chain. ProAgri focuses on distribution, logistics, and scale, supplying eggs to numerous retail and wholesale channels, often under neutral or secondary brand names. The eggs supplied by ProAgri are efficient, standardized, and interchangeable. You won't find a compelling narrative here about how the hens are raised or why these eggs might be better than any others. There's very little branding, because that's not the point. The product is engineered to flow smoothly through the supply chain, not to capture your attention on the shelf. ProAgri represents the industrial side of egg production. Massive scale, low differentiation, and minimal consumer engagement. Again, it's not illegal or unsafe, but it firmly occupies the commodity segment. Farmstead Select follows a similar pattern. Farmstead Select eggs are widely available in stores like Walmart and Aldi, and their prices are always competitive. They are promoted using functional language, size, quantity, freshness, but without any significant story about quality. There are no strong organic claims here. Free-range living isn't highlighted, nor is the feed positioned as premium. Farmstead Select eggs are reliable, predictable, and designed to blend in with the crowd. In terms of consumer behavior, these are the quote six. They're the ones you buy when you're in a hurry or focused solely on price. And it's this default status that earns them a spot on this list. When a product gives you absolutely no reason to choose it beyond convenience and cost, it is almost always operating at the lowest acceptable standard. Now let's talk about the supermarket's own private labels. Major retailers like Aldi and Walmart both sell eggs under their own house brand names. Private label products exist to give retailers control over pricing and profit margins. In some product categories, this can work out just fine. But when it comes to eggs, it often leads to extreme cost optimization. These basic store-brand eggs are typically sourced from a rotating roster of suppliers, chosen primarily for their price and efficiency. The producer behind the eggs might change from month to month, but the packaging stays exactly the same. This makes it incredibly difficult for consumers to track the origin of their food, and it removes accountability from the brand itself. You aren't buying into a farmer's reputation. You're buying into a retailer's pricing strategy. These eggs are consistent and affordable, sure, but they are engineered to meet the bare minimum standards, not to exceed them. This places them squarely in a lower quality category. Next, you have eggs tied to massive commercial operations. Think of a company like Global Agri-Foods. Global Agri-Foods operates in the world of international commodity trading and distribution. Their products are often associated with mass-scale supply chains, mixed sourcing, and logistical efficiency above all else. When eggs are treated primarily as a trading unit, rather than as food with a story, transparency is the first casualty. Even if all the regulations are technically being followed, consumers are given only limited information about origin, farming conditions, and long-term production standards. The more steps that separate the hen from the grocery store shelf, the harder it becomes to assess any quality beyond the most basic requirements of an egg. These products are often seen as transactional eggs. They're functional, they're legal, but they're stripped of the story and trust that discerning consumers look for. And now we reach the lowest rung of them all, the doorbuster deal eggs. This isn't a single brand, it's a category. These are the eggs sold primarily during special promotions at discount grocers like Aldi or Save-A-Lot, often at prices that seem too good to be true. Think 10 eggs for a price that barely seems to cover the cost of the cardboard carton they come in. If eggs are being sold that cheaply, it means corners have been cut somewhere. It could be the living space allotted to each hen, it could be the quality of their feed, or it could be the punishing pace of production. It could simply be transparency. Promotional eggs are designed to get you into the store, not to provide long-term value. They are the result of a race to the bottom where the only deciding factor is the price tag. At this point, the picture might seem pretty bleak, but that isn't where the story ends. The United States also produces absolutely excellent eggs. You just won't find them on the bottom shelf with the biggest sale sticker on them. One solid example of this is a brand like Homestead Farms. Homestead Farms positions itself above the commodity segment as a mid-tier premium brand. The brand emphasizes its use of controlled, high-quality feed, more transparent labeling, and higher production standards. Their eggs are more expensive than the cheapest options, and that's precisely the point. Higher quality eggs are more expensive to produce. They require slower production cycles, better living conditions for the hens, and far more oversight. Homestead Farms makes a clear effort to communicate these differences to the consumer, and that transparency truly matters. You'll find Pasture Promise eggs at Kroger and other major grocery chains, usually placed a little higher on the shelf, or sometimes in their own dedicated section. The packaging is much clearer about their production methods. This brand doesn't just rely on pretty farm pictures or vague promises of happiness. Pasture Promise might not be perfect, but it represents a conscious step away from the rock-bottom segment of egg production. And finally, there's a brand like Green Meadow Organics. These eggs are certified organic, and that certification isn't just a piece of paper. It comes with a whole set of strict requirements for feed, space, and the overall well-being of the animals. These hens live according to the highest production standards available in the United States. Green Meadow Organics eggs are more expensive because, frankly, producing them is more expensive. There are no shortcuts when it comes to organic farming. The feed has to be organic. The space allocated for each hen has to meet elevated standards. The oversight has to be constant and rigorous. That higher cost reflects a real, tangible difference in how our food is made. If you care about quality, ethics, and transparency, this is what it looks like. You can find Green Meadow Organics eggs in the specialty sections of larger supermarkets and at health food stores like Whole Foods. They're marked with the USDA organic seal, and the carton will clearly state they are from free-range or pasture-raised hens. This video isn't here to tell you what you have to eat, but to show you what you're actually buying. Cheap eggs aren't inherently bad. Many people rely on affordable food, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with shopping on a budget. But pretending that all eggs are the same, that a promotional carton at the lowest possible price offers the same quality as organic or pasture-raised eggs, is just misleading. The system is designed to make everything look identical. You'll see those idyllic farm scenes on every package, with words like quote 7 and quote 8 on every label. But behind those pictures and words lie production systems that couldn't be more different. Some hens live in massive barns with minimal space, in a system optimized purely for cost and efficiency. Others have access to outdoor pastures, slower production cycles, and organic feed. Both systems are legal. Both systems produce eggs that pass inspection, but they are not equal. Now you know the difference. You know that brands like Great Value, Kirkland Signature, Market Pantry, and other generic or store brands are in the lowest quality tier. Not because they're unsafe, but because their priority is price over transparency and efficiency over animal welfare. You know that brands like Pasture Promise and Green Meadow Organics are better choices with higher production standards and clearer communication about how their eggs are produced. You know how to read the carton? You know that quote 9 and quote 10 mean more outdoor access than quote 11, and quote 12 means specific standards for feeding care. And you know that the packaging is often designed to hide these differences, not to reveal them. The next time you're standing in front of the egg cooler at Walmart or Kroger, you'll see more than just pretty pictures. You'll see more than just the soothing words. You'll see the production codes. You'll look at the price differences and finally understand what those differences really mean. The choice is yours, but now it's an informed one. If this